Today, we're diving into an ancient language, one that's not only foundational to Western culture, but is said to hold the very secrets of creation itself. We're talking about Biblical Hebrew.
So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the very heart of why this even matters. We've all heard the famous commandment, right? Thou shalt not kill. But what if I told you that's not exactly what it says? That a huge, critical piece of the meaning has been lost in translation for centuries.
Okay, so take a look at this. In the original Hebrew, the phrase is lo tirtza. Now that verb, ratza, is super specific. It doesn't just mean to kill in a general sense, no. It means to intentionally, premeditatively murder. So the commandment isn't this giant blanket ban on any and all killing. It's a very precise rule against murder. Just think about that. That one word completely changes the legal and moral landscape of the entire statement.
So that begs the question, right? How do we get back to what it really said? Well, the key, of course, is the language itself, Biblical Hebrew. And what's so fascinating is that it's seen as so much more than just a way to talk to each other. It's something way more profound.
You see, in traditional Jewish thought, Hebrew isn't just a language that describes the world. It's the language that built the world. The idea is that the letters and the words, they're not just symbols. They're the actual building blocks of the universe, each one filled with its own kind of divine energy. It's like the source code for creation.
And just to give you some context, let's look at where Hebrew fits in the grand scheme of things. It's part of the Semitic language family, which makes it a cousin to other really important ancient languages like Aramaic and Arabic. So you can see it comes from this incredibly rich, ancient linguistic neighborhood.
And boy, does it have a long history. I mean, the language has changed over the centuries, for sure. But what we're really digging into today is its oldest form, Biblical Hebrew. We're talking about a language from over 3,000 years ago. And its real power? Well, that comes from its fundamental building blocks. To really get Hebrew, you have to start right here, with its alphabet, or alphabet. And you've got to understand, these aren't just letters like A, B, C. Nope. Each one is a universe of meaning packed into a single symbol. It's like this says, these 22 letters are seen as the literal building blocks of all creation. So they aren't just there to make sounds. They're thought of as cosmic ingredients, the actual elements God used to literally speak the universe into existence. So if you understand the letter, you're getting a key to understanding creation itself. So let's look at a couple of examples. First up, we have Aleph. It's the first letter. It represents the number 1. It's all about unity, the oneness of God, the infinite. It's seen as this silent spiritual spark that everything else comes from. Okay, so after the oneness of Aleph, you get Bet. And Bet literally means house. So you go from the infinite spirit to a container for that spirit. It represents the physical world, a vessel built to hold that divine spark. It's like creation needs a home, and Bet is that home. Or how about this one, Shin? I mean, just look at it. It looks like a flame, right? And that's exactly what it represents. Fire, transformation, change. It's about that divine power that can purify and change everything around it, but the fire itself stays the same. Pretty deep, huh? Okay, so we've got these letters, and they're packed with all this incredible symbolic meaning. But how do you actually read this stuff? The mechanics of it are, believe it or not, just as cool as the symbolism. So, get this. The original written Hebrew had no vowels at all. It was just consonants. It's kind of like if you tried to read English like the quick brown fox. You, the reader, would have to supply all the vowel sounds from memory. You had to already know the language inside and out just to read it. That's exactly how it worked. So you're probably wondering, well, how on earth do we read it today then? Great question. Much, much later, we're talking centuries later, a group of scholars developed this brilliant system of little dots and dashes called Nikud. And you can seriously think of it like an ancient GPS for the text. They added these little marks above and below the letters to show you exactly which vowel sound goes where, preserving the correct pronunciation forever. Oh, and there's one more little curveball, especially for us English speakers. Everything's backward. You don't read from left to right, you read from right to left. You literally start at what we think of as the back of the book and work your way forward. It definitely takes some getting used to. All right, so we've looked at the letters, the history, how to read it, the whole shebang. But let's tie this all together. What's the point?
Why does understanding this ancient code actually matter right now, today?
Well, when it comes to the payoff for digging into biblical Hebrew, I think there are three really huge reasons.
First off, you get a much deeper insight into the Old Testament. You get to skip the middleman of translation, like we saw with that kill versus murder thing, and go right to the original source. Secondly, it actually gives you a much richer context for the New Testament, because even though those books were written in Greek, the writers were thinking in Hebrew. Their whole worldview was shaped by this language. And finally, you realize that Hebrew isn't just a language used for theology, it's a language that is theology. Its very structure, the letters, the words, it's all built to talk about these huge, complex spiritual ideas in a way that, frankly, other languages just can't.
So I'll leave you with this. We started this whole journey by looking at how a single word, just one word, could completely change our understanding of one of history's most famous commandments. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If that much meaning can be packed into one word, what other secrets, what other profound ideas are just sitting there waiting to be discovered in the original text?